You need me to talk or no?
Nope, just checking over the outline. I'm gonna plug my phone in because it will die and I need it for the outline because I can't touch the computer, and then we can get started.
Okay. I'm gonna use the bathroom then while you're doing that.
And then Tim goes to the bathroom. All right, actually, talk one more time. I want to mess around with the treble and the bass that they have here, or the boost and no, what is it? It's a flat treble and bass. Can you talk? Oh, I want those too.
Yo, welcome to another episode of the Bjj Goons podcast. I'm your host, Tim the Mushmaster Spriggs.
One more time. I just turned the bass all the way up. I think it sounds.
Yo, welcome to another episode of the Bjj Goons podcast. I'm your host, Tim the Mushmaster Spriggs.
All right, let me grab my beer. All right, I have a. All right, I'm gonna hit the second record. I'm gonna clap this time because we might actually need to sync the sound with the Zoom video, because I just might use that video so I can switch back and forth. And yeah.
Yo, welcome to another episode of the Bjj Goons podcast. I'm your host, Tim the Mushmaster Spriggs, and with me as always every week is...
Yo, what's up, everybody? It's Nico Ball, no new Nico, sitting here looking like a dumbass because I was sitting here. We're having some technical shit. As you can tell, I'm clearly not in the studio or home. I'm at a hotel launching my OnlyFans. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not in a hotel launching my OnlyFans, but I was doing like an actual sound test. I know a few of our listeners and my friends are trying to do some podcasts. So we'll get a little fancy with the video and the audio just in case there's any mistakes. So I actually had to do a sound test, which we don't normally do, to sync the sound. And then I forgot to put my hands down. So it's important to, don't forget that you're not just directing, but you're also on camera.
Yeah, that's how it is in production.
Right?
I did not go to school for this. I did not go to school for anything audiovisual related. I just learned how to speak publicly growing up. Everything else, I'm learning on the fly. But, you're doing a pretty good job. We're doing a pretty good job considering.
Yeah, no, I think we're doing an awesome job. I mean, like, I don't know how you perceive it. And I know like when we do like video editing and stuff, because Tim's learning to do a lot. Like I'm the one that knew how to edit videos and I know how to make clips and I've been showing Tim. So like Like the stuff that comes up with subtitles, that's mostly me. Like Tim's done a couple of them, but like, he's been doing like these 1 minute clips. He's been doing clips for IGTV. He's been learning to resize them. And in this process, like I don't know if we both learned this. I think we both learned this, but like there's processes and systems that we have had in place or I have had in place that just weren't taught or just weren't explained. So it's like he's had to pick up on a lot. So you've been doing a really great job, but like then it's just like when you in jujitsu, like you see so many mistakes because you're a black belt, but I have so many of them. So it's hard for me not to be like, all right, yeah, he's just at this point. It's just whatever. Cause I always comment on everything. So I hope you don't take it like I'm criticizing you all the time.
Oh no, I don't take it personally at all. I don't take it personal because the goal is the same, making this the best show possible and providing the fans some much needed entertainment and nowadays, something that they
Right.
can listen to on the road, whether driving to and from work, because everything's back open for now, or when they're working out, or just kicking back in the cribbo. So, what's new with you?
What's new with me? Other than my trip, Atlanta, mental breakdowns all the time. Uh, I guess the mental breakdowns aren't that bad. I'm upset because I can't go to Brazil before my surgery. I found out because I can't leave the country and try to slide out for a week and a half because then I would have to quarantine and I have to go in to get my test. So that kind of sucked. But I'm in Atlanta at a business conference. I guess I'll talk a little bit about that before we get onto the actual topic because it kind of goes with the topic. Today we're going to talk a little bit about economics. Like I'm gonna lay down some of my black belt business knowledge or I learned this from Economics 101, so it's not black belt, but yeah, but what's up with you? What have you been doing?
I went to the beach this weekend.
And you don't have to Tim don't tell me nothing actually. So that's what's up.
I went to the
Yeah.
beach for my best friend's birthday party. It
Oh,
wasn't really a birthday, but he's my best friend, and I went to kick it with him at his beach house, and it was fun. A couple other mutual friends were there as well, and it was a pretty chill weekend. But last night was a shit show.
oh, wait, hold on. Before, because I seen this in the outline. Before I got some questions. Like before you get into that, what beach do you go to?
Well, Ocean City and Dewey Beach in Delaware. So Saturday
Okay.
we went to Dewey Beach first in Delaware, which was pretty chill. It was just, it wasn't very diverse. Let's just say that. The politically correct way to say that part of the country, the town, is not very diverse. So we kind of stuck out like sore thumbs, but that's where his parents and his family live. So we're just kicking it there. And we're on our way. So the plan was we're gonna go to Dewey Beach in Delaware and just hang out there and then go back to his beach house and then go to Ocean City, Maryland, which all of this is like around within an hour of each other.
Okay, you know how like is it like not like bougie highbrow? So you were at the beach, you were at somebody's beach house, and then you're like, we're gonna go to the beach and then go back to the beach house. Like you're on vacation, like we're gonna incept into another vacation and then come back.
Technically, it wasn't a beach house, but it is in a beach. It's a beach community, but they're not on the
Oh,
waterfront.
gotcha.
They live close to Dewey Beach. So we went there, we got some food. I made the executive decision that I would be the sober person in this group of four. And somehow, some way, he ended up driving from Dewey Beach to Ocean City. But we weren't supposed to go from Dewey Beach to Ocean City. We were supposed to just go from the Dewey Beach to his house, then back over to Ocean City. But for some reason, there was some accident on the road. And this is a beach community that we're at Dewey Beach. So it's basically a 2-lane highway. It's like the strip. And one side is one lane, one side is the other, and there's a median. And we're looking at the time, and they're like, yo, there's no way we're going to be able to get back to your house and go to this club in Ocean City called Secrets, which is like pretty nuts. It's a pretty nuts place to be.
Yeah, I've heard of
According
it.
to them, it's supposed to be really fun. And so he's driving, my friend, it's his birthday, he's driving and he's pretty buzzed. I don't know this at the time because he says like, I'm fine, I'm good, bro, I'm good. He drives over the median, over to the opposite side of the road, and takes a beeline to Ocean City. This goes over the median in a pickup truck, and our friend's pickup truck. He goes over the median, like, it's like a grassy thing with trees and shit. He goes over that in the truck and just goes
Yeah, he
straight
was
to
so
Ocean
drunk he
City.
thought he was white.
No, well, yeah, he did. He did some white boy
Driving
shit
like
for
that,
sure,
driving
cowboy
like
shit.
that, driving like
But the police were up
that. Damn.
there,
You know they
preoccupied
were
with the
riding legal,
accident.
y'all. You know they were riding legal. Nobody had charges in that car.
Oh, I can't even. I'll save the rest of the bloody details of like what was in the car at the time for the Patreon. But no, it was the opposite of riding clean in the car. And I was just sitting there like, I'm the sober one here, obviously now because my friend lied to me and said he was sober, and we're just speeding to Ocean City. We made a pit stop at a Royal Farms, and the bathroom was closed. It didn't work. So one of his friends decided to go behind the Royal Farms and piss. And it's a girl that did it.
I mean, what you say that like when we gotta pee, we gotta pee. You guys have the convenience to just pee anywhere, so you don't think it's funny. It's a struggle for us to find places to pee on a road trip.
That's
Okay?
what's funny about it. It was pretty funny actually. And then we get there, and I think my calling was to be a negotiator for the police. Like when there's a psycho, that's holed up in a room or something, like a SWAT team negotiator.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was a shit show. Because when we get there, you know how people drink, right? You know how people drink and they're kind of a different person, or they're that deep dark part of themselves that that you don't typically see, right? And we're sitting. And this place is secret. It's basically like a beach bar, but it's a huge facility, like different clubs inside the
Warehouse kind of
club.
complex kind of
It's
thing.
a complex. And I'm sitting in there and I'm looking around. It's nothing but sunburnt hillbillies and frat boys. Like that's the vibe in this whole place. It's not very diverse, as you would say. And he's sitting at the bar. We're like sitting at this table, and he's drunk. He's like getting all kind of rude with the waitress, a little bit too flirtatious. And I'm like, hey man, you having a good time? I mean, it's your birthday. I came here for you. He's like, no, I'm having a real good time. I kind of just just want to walk around and just fuck with people. I'm like, huh? I'm like looking at him like, what are you talking about? So, needless to say, it becomes more of a shit show. Mind you, my friend, it's his birthday. He's the one that drove over the median to the opposite road so we could go to Ocean City faster. Like we're supposed
He's
to
not
make
a
a pit.
fighter though, right? Because dealing with drunk
No,
fighters is a whole other worse level.
No, this person has no fight experience, none whatsoever. I'm the only person that has trained martial arts seriously in this group. Needless to say, we're going to one of the clubs inside the club, and one of our friends, she, how people clear the way. She's from she listens to hardcore music, so she's used to mosh pits and shit, Aaron Hurley type stuff, just clear the way. And I'm not I'm behind them, so I'm just following because I'm sober and I'm just peeping the scene. I'm like, oh, okay, we're just kicking it, I guess. So what she does is she bumps into somebody, and apparently it's the guy that she bumped into, some tall, douchey New York guy with a gold chain and a little button-up shirt, like a Guido. And he's like, yeah, keep walking, keep walking. Like, I didn't hear this. I'm not paying attention to them really. I'm just looking around. And then I finally start seeing something in front of me, and it's them getting each other's faces. So there's the girl that was with us, my best friend, and then their friend, who's a guy, and they're jawing at each other. And I'm like, oh God, what is going on here? I really don't want to get into a fight in this club. I'm just trying to have a decent time. And I end up walking in between them and was like, hey man, is everything okay? We're cool here, right? And then the tall guy kind of bitches up. He's not as tough when I start talking to him for some reason. He's just like, oh man,
You're a big
hey,
dude, man.
I guess so. I guess I am. And he's like, oh man, there's no problem. You know, they're just, you know, being kind of rude and disrespectful. He's like, oh, but I have no problem, bro. Nice shirt. I wasn't wearing this shirt, by the way. I was wearing like a regular t-shirt with some design on it.
He's like, I
And
wasn't
he's,
wearing my nice shirts. He was complimenting that
yes,
trash, but you know,
yeah. And
New Yorkers don't know what's up.
yeah. And there's like a little shorter Guido guy, a little scrappy dude motherfucker with no shirt on, just like tapping at me by hands, like, yeah, man, just go have fun, bro. Just go have fun. I'm like, who is this motherfucker? Like, and I'm looking around too because I have spatial awareness. And I'm like, okay, so I have my friends here that have no street smarts, obviously, because you're starting shit with someone in a crowded club or a bar or whatever, and you don't know who this person is with. And then finally, one of the guys in the group is like, you know what, man, let's just go back out to the clearer area of the place because it's crowded in there. People are dancing. There's a live band or whatever. So we go back outside. We're talking, and they're just steaming mad. Like two of the guys are steaming mad. The girl that was with us, she's just like, you know, I just want to stay out here. Like, I don't like the vibe in there. And then the other two guys, my friend and then his friend, are just like, yeah, like just steaming mad still. I'm like, you guys do understand, like, we're not trying to get beat up and start no fights here. We're trying to have a good time. And like, you don't know who the fuck these people are with. Why start something? Nonetheless, I go back to the side, just zoning out, chilling. And apparently my best friend, whose birthday it is, he sees the guy that we bumped, it was bumped into originally. And he starts jawing at him again. And I'm not close enough, but then once I see them jawing, I see the tall Guido and the scrappy dude, short little Guido, and they got their girls with them, and they're just jawing. And then I have to come back from over there, away from the group, and make my way over. And I have
So
to
your
talk to them.
friend went away from, saw him, left the group, and
Yes.
went over there just to start some shit. God, and it's your best friend. Like, we all have this motherfucker that's grown and still wants to start shit.
But he doesn't know how to fight, though. Like, he's not a fighter.
Oh, no, of course not. Do you know
And
how
his
many
friend
people,
isn't a fighter either.
men will be like, she's an MMA fighter. She got it. Be like, no, you're a man. No. Professional fighters get paid to fight. And the number one thing they do in a fight camp is run. So you know what my ass gonna do? I'm gonna run, go get my gun. Unless you're paying me.
And so
but yeah, I hate that.
The girl that was with us, she had her gun in the car, but like me and her are pissed at both of them, both of the two guys with my best friend and the other friend we have, because I had explained to them, you guys don't fight. You guys are not fighters. We're in the street. They're like, but yeah, Tim, but when you went over there, he bitched up, but they disrespected us. I'm like, who cares? It doesn't matter. We're a team. It doesn't matter what it is. It shouldn't have been an issue when the guy you bumped into, if he wanted to fight you guys then and there, he would have fought y'all. You could have just kept it moving. He was talking shit to save face in front of his girl, and you guys kept it moving. And then the scrappy dude motherfucker's talking shit. But if he wanted to do something, he would have done something by then.
Exactly.
But you're escalating it by still talking to these motherfuckers. Say apologize or just calm it down. And then I'm back outside dealing with altercation number 2. And I'm talking to the guy. And then, of course, the tall Guido wants to be respectful for me. He's like, hey, bro, I don't have any problem with you. You know, and he looks over to the rest of the group of people arguing. And he's like, this is the only guy that was acting respectful, acting like a man here, trying to talk to me. Because I'm guessing he's just trying to be nice to me. So, and talk to his friend to let him know, like, there's another guy here that's big and probably can fight because I have a cauliflower ear that's, if you get close, is noticeable. And nonetheless, I'm just kind of frustrated for the rest of the night, the rest of the weekend, because I'm like thinking to myself, you dummies, you guys don't know how to fight. So if we get in a fight and y'all getting fucked up, my best friend is in the fray. So I'm gonna have to fight really hard and for real. And I don't consider myself some tough guy or whatever, but I know how to defend myself. And I'm just you know how you get the jumpies inside of you, like butterflies, or like you get like that kind of twitch to you, where it's like your fight or flight. And I was at that point where it's like, okay, like, gotta be ready. Like, what am I gonna do? Am I gonna body lock, take down this guy? Am I gonna 1-2 blast double into his chest? And they're not thinking about that. They're just trying to save face in their ego. And I was just pissed for the rest of the night. I was mad. And I tried to explain to them in the car, but they're like, you just don't get it, Tim. I don't like being disrespected. I'm like, who gives a fuck about disrespect?
Yo,
They literally walked away. They bitched out. They wanted to fight you. They would have fought you, especially when you said to them again, my best friend did that. I was like, bro, do you know how stupid that is? And like, they got security there and they frisked us and stuff. But I'm like, thinking like, does this guy have a razor blade under his tongue? How good are those metal detectors? Does he have something heavy in his hands? Is there other people around? Oh, oy vey. Oh God. Jesus. That was my weekend. That was my weekend.
Wait, did you at least get to chill at the club for a little bit? Or that was just when you got there?
No, it was really, we did the walk around. We're there for probably maybe 2 hours at most, hour and a half, probably. But then if you think about it, we had to wait in that long ass line. It was just a shit show. It was nice to make sure my friend had a good time. But if I think about it, like, I kind of really didn't have that great of a time. And then after that, I was kind of sour to it because it just wasn't a good idea. It wasn't a good idea to like do that kind of stuff. I didn't know.
Do what kind of stuff? Go to the club or try to like initiate the fight? Because that was definitely not a good idea.
That wasn't a good idea. But then it's just like, just in hindsight, it was a shit show. Like, there's so many instances during that week, that day, like Saturday, where things could have went awry. And I was kind of like my friend's guardian angel throughout the day.
But is he like always like that, or is it just like a weekend vibe?
No, I don't know, because I was hanging out with him, and like when we hang out, we kick it. I'm around him. He doesn't usually get that way, but then but I don't hang out with his friends like that. Like, he has a separate group of friends that he has. I'm like, is this how y'all get down? And he's like, yeah, ask, because we have a mutual friend that I'm kind of in his friend group, but I'm not. And they're like, yeah, he's not. In reference to my best friend, his friend was like, she's like, yeah, he's not even the craziest one in the group. If so-and-so and so-and-so were here, it'd be crazy. I'm like, oh my God. And I had to give them the spiel like, yeah, even when we win, if and when we win this fight, someone might have to go to jail. So that was my weekend. That was my weekend. And I missed AJ McKee's fight. I missed the Bellator card.
Yeah, me too. I was watching UFC last night. But since we're going to talk a little bit about economics, let's talk a little bit about law. There was something that you said that my father would have whooped my ass for saying publicly. Do you know what it was? What? Do our listeners know? It's a legal thing that could have potentially gotten somebody in trouble.
What is it?
I would never openly admit to having a gun, whether legal or not, and alcohol. You can't carry if you're drinking. And anyone
it's not my gun.
I still wouldn't have just said it at all. I wouldn't like, and that's why I say I want to educate our listeners. Like, it wasn't illegal and it wasn't that bad, but that is something like with social media, people are really dumb with social media. Like, I'm in Atlanta now and I posted some things. I have not posted a single thing while I'm there. I posted something from the highway when I was 20 minutes away. And then people are like, oh, you're in Atlanta? Yeah, but I wasn't there. I was leaving out the hotel and making a video, and then I realized you could see the hotel, and I deleted that shit, right? So it's like, shit like, oh yeah, I was drinking or I was smoking and I had my gun, because like you say that one time and then somebody's going out, like it doesn't even have to be like malicious. Like I had like my white roommate used to say somebody I know was selling coke, and that deaded my relationship. Like I was like, yo, I'm not gonna be friends because you're saying that out loud in front of people and it's not true. So like you're perpetuating like shit. You know, it just takes one person to be like, oh yeah, like not that many. Like I don't put my gun out a lot or I don't put weed out a lot on social media. I try to keep them both. Like I'm an avid pothead, but like, yeah, you can never have both of them together. Like one has to be locked away and stuff like that. So it's important that if you do dabble in that shit, because I know most of my friends are doing that shit illegally, at least be aware.
Marijuana.
Owning guns. Owning guns, yeah. Marijuana, drugs, anything, driving dirty, like shit like that. Like I've had friends, like my best friend from Woodbridge, I'm getting a text message right now from jail after this. I got another jail visitation at 8. You know, like motherfuckers in jail and they don't know how to look up their case records. Like if you're gonna do stuff, like you need to be aware of like the legality on it. Like when we talked before, when we were getting, me and Tim got our concealed carry around the same time, and DC, I have it in DC, and they didn't teach me anything that they were supposed to. They just signed my papers. So like they did like all the legal stuff. Like apparently, like you can never shoot somebody that's past 7 feet away because that's not self-defense. You can't claim it because they're too far. And like somebody just randomly told me that while I was at the range. But like that's the job of an instructor, because like what if you're scared and you have a gun and you like that's super important, like because you're going down for murder instead of self-defense, like because you didn't know the laws. So those things are always like really important. And like my dad was really big on that shit. Like don't leave shit illegal like written down in messages. And you know, when we talk about like the Olympics, everything that's happening, getting popped for scandals, you really need to know what you're doing and how to get around it and not hang out with people like that. You know, I was in a situation again when we talk about the legality of shit. My friends, it's my boy, he from Southeast, which is like not the nicest area, but he grown, like he's older than me, so he moved out, but he's got his boys. I was going over his house. He's like, we might have to step out for a minute. I was like, where y'all going? He's like, the vitamin store. I was like, none of y'all do exercises. I'm not getting in that car, because the only thing that they're getting at a fucking vitamin store is something to cut drugs. And I didn't want to be in that car with them. Not that they had it on them, but like if they get pulled over and I'm in that car, I don't even need it. And like the only reason I knew what they were doing because they said vitamins. Like had I not known what you can get at the vitamin shop and do with it, like I might have got in the car with them with felonies and shit, you know? So you really got to be aware of what you're doing, because I know a lot of people that listen to this podcast be out in the streets too and doing their jujitsu thing, you know? So you need to focus on the jujitsu and the good.
Yeah. Well, lesson learned. lesson
right,
learned.
right.
Lesson learned. I feel regret because I did miss out on a changing of the guard, and I think a preview of things to come in the sport of MMA. Bellator had the finals of its featherweight Grand Prix this weekend. AJ McKee just murked Patricio Pitbull to win the featherweight Grand Prix and $1 million, apparently. I believe it was a check for $1 million. He is one of the first guys to grow up doing all of MMA. Like, you know, some guys back in the day, they grew up doing wrestling. I grew up doing jujitsu. I grew up kickboxing. AJ McKee's dad is Antonio McKee. I think that's his proper name, Antonio McKee. And I remember watching Antonio McKee fight back in the day. And over time, I heard that he had a son and was training, and the kid grew up in the gym. A lot of the older generation of fighters remember him. Oh, that's AJ. That's that's Lil McKee. And now he's a Bellator champion. And this is the future. The days of you just being a specialist, I think, are somewhat over. I'm not saying a specialist cannot win, but you're starting to see that jiu-jitsu becomes a sport in and of itself. And there's going to be training regimens specifically for MMA that have battle-tested examples. It's going to be very exciting to see. They just need to hurry up and pay the guys right, because if you're the best fighter in a weight class, you should be making more than that. But another thing too, another takeaway I had before we go to Econ 101, there's killers all over the world. It doesn't matter what promotion you're in, because if AJ McKee were to fight some of the best guys in his weight class in the UFC, I'm pretty sure he'd put them to sleep, whether by choking them out or knocking them out. And he did both to Patricio Pitbull. He head kicked them, Patricio dropped, AJ celebrating, and then the rest like, it's not over. And he just puts him in a guillotine and submits him. Beautiful, beautiful fight. AJ McKee's the future. Oh, he's the now. He's the king.
He's the now.
He's the
amazing,
now.
Amazing. Wait, you didn't get to watch the fight? Well, you watched it.
I watched it, but like I didn't get to watch it. No, I was de-escalating a potential brawl. Almost got banned for the secrets for beating up a couple Guidos.
Damn Guidos. And when was the last time you got to go out like that? Like between the pandemic, training?
Like go out?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. When I went to Georgia, we went to a strip club. It doesn't count. It wasn't out like that. You know. Yeah, it wasn't out like that. And we weren't even in like a big crowd for that long. We were in there for like literally, we went in there and then the shit started, and then it's party's over. We're going home.
Man, it's like so few times we get to go out because like we're either quarantined, training, or looking for jobs or nowhere to go. And it's like then you finally get to go out and drama.
Yes, drama. Looking for jobs. That's
How
why.
is
How is
how
it?
yeah.
Oh, adulting is it's looking promising, but there's always a meantime in between time, until this contract is signed, until
Wait, which
you
contract? Job contract, fight contract, private lesson contract? Like,
I mean, I'm growing like my customer base as far as the jiu-jitsu world, and contracts have been signed for jiu-jitsu related activities that I cannot discuss at this time. However, real world work stuff, all I can say is it's not complete yet until I get signed on the dotted line until my first day. I'm just going to say it's a bird in the bush, and a bird in the hand is better than a bird in the bush. You know what I mean? Until everything's signed on the dotted line, until I get that first check, don't take it serious.
wait, so if you have a job offer and a fight contract, nice money in the fight contract, job offer here. Can you take them both?
In the real adult world job situation with the potential matches, probably yes. Yeah, for sure. However, if I had to pick between one or the other, I'm definitely picking the adult shit, not the match shit, because one is guaranteed money and the other is not. The other may be big money for a short amount of time that could probably last me a year. Well, me a year, the average person, no, but I think the real world stuff is much more fruitful in the long term. And this is what I'm looking for.
Okay. So is that saying that if you were to have enough money, if you were to be able to get enough money in 15 minutes to support yourself for a year, you do not have enough faith in your abilities as a podcaster and with your website to produce your own income within a year to not need that job?
Well, the money
Because
that
if
I
I
would
had
get,
enough money for a year I would not, I would say like I could not only produce this podcast, that I could make a living producing podcasts if I didn't have to have a job. But like you saying like, that's like if you had money for a year.
I would make it stretch, but I
But I'm
think
saying like if you knew that you could like get that fight and take
depends
the
on,
money, or you could take the job, if you knew you were going to win the fight, but you couldn't have the job, you wouldn't like, I don't know, like saying if you like, knew if I had like that 30,000, I could do it, or like 30, 40, 50, quarter million, right?
$250,000 is different than $40,000.
Well, I don't know what everybody's supposed to know, so I'm trying to brush off the real price, okay? Like, so
Okay,
nobody knows
so
what we're
whatever
talking
price.
about.
Okay, so well
so,
that's important. So okay, so
so you,
hypothetical scenario, the hypothetical air quotes scenario in which if I knew I would win, that is not enough money for me to take up to say I don't want the real world job offer
but you would
because
be
the
able to live off
perks,
that money for a year.
that amount of money and live comfortably and not stress out, no. Because you got to have Katrina money. Do you know what Katrina money is? Have I ever said this before in the show?
No.
So my dad used to always tell us growing up, you got to have Katrina money on the side. And what Katrina money is Hurricane Katrina money, because Hurricane Katrina, for the most part, fucked shit up worse than anyone could imagine. So people were just ass out. So you got to have that money set to the side in case Hurricane Katrina happens.
I think you
Katrina
need to
money.
pick a different disaster. I don't think you realize like the insurance on them houses, like, yo,
I'm
Katrina
talking about
money's
for the
too much
black
money.
folks that they let
Too
drown,
much money.
Nico. I'm talking about the people that didn't have that kind of money. That didn't own. I'm not talking about the people who lived in the nice part that they released the levies on the poor part of town to save. I'm not talking about those people, the rich motherfuckers that got over. I'm talking about like the average Joe citizen in that
Yeah, but I'm
situation.
saying like, yo, like the insurance on their houses, because everybody had house insurance, but house insurance wouldn't cover it. It had to be flood or water insurance. So house insurance would only, so everybody got fucked. There was no amount of money that was going to save anybody, any black family in Katrina. Like, because that's what they
Okay.
started off this business conference was talking about the average median income for the black family in America and how it's so low. And in like the next 10 years, it's projected to be at below zero.
Well, my
And the
point
lack of
exactly.
generational wealth.
Well, proves my point even more. It's not Katrina money. It's not. I could make a stretch, but it's not. And I could probably make it last maybe a year. But then after a year, I'd be like, oh, and like as far as have faith in myself, of course I have faith in myself, but I'm gonna hedge my bets. I don't have the luxury to just say fuck it. I'm just gonna do whatever, and I'll roll the dice. Like I used to do that. It went well, but another Hurricane Katrina happened, a fucking
But
global pandemic.
like, who told you to just say fuck it and roll your dice? Because we train on the
Yeah,
same team, and I know that's not how we roll. Because I have the like literally, I have the book right here. So,
I don't. What I mean by
like,
fucking roll the dice is like bet on myself and do that kind of thing and take a risk. But
but what I mean is like that exact kind of ambiguity is exactly what's fucking you up. Like, you can't just bet on yourself. You have to be like, I have to produce this amount of this. You need like actual deliverables and like tangible things and think like betting. No, I'm gonna do this. What are you gonna do? Like, if you don't have a clear picture of what you're going to do, then yeah, you're just kind
I
of
have a clear
sitting there thinking
picture.
money is going to come to you.
Well, I have a clear picture. But what I'm saying is, even with the clear picture, I'm not gonna just do the I know for sure I'm gonna win and say fuck this opportunity. Because this opportunity on the other side is pretty dope.
Yeah, it is a nice
And
job, actually.
it's
No,
life
it is a
changing.
nice
It's
job. Are
life
you not saying
changing.
what the job is either? You can't say that.
No, I don't.
Oh, okay.
No, that's what they'd have to pay for that if I so choose.
No,
But
I
how
know
does that?
somebody. I think I know somebody in Texas with that job that like lives in a little mansion. I went down there. He got some kids. He's like the cost of living down there and a nice job. I was like, damn, man, I need to. And yo, where I was at in Atlanta, the studio, the event space, they were saying that rent was only $2,500. I was like, yo, you can't get a studio in Southeast for $2,500. You talking about a whole event space down in Atlanta? Yo, I'm about to be down here. Move scene. What's good? Let's do some
Well,
affiliate shit in
that's
Atlanta, or
far.
maybe Savannah's nice.
Savannah is nice.
Yo,
Savannah is
you want to
nice.
limit yourself? I'm talking about, yo, I'm gonna have time. I'll fly back out to Savannah when I want to. Glock headquarters is down here in Smyrna. I, Lucky I'm still blue belt. I need Master Lloyd. Master Lloyd says needs to leave Maryland.
So how does that relate to the Econ 101?
Okay, so we got on this topic literally because he was bringing it up when he was in job training. I was explaining to Tim something called the opportunity cost, which I think is one of the most basic terms in economics. And then that just got us talking on how you can actually apply economics, not just to money, but to your time. So Tim, do you remember what opportunity cost is? I have some other definitions we're going to run through. I'm not going to ask you beforehand. I'll just tell you what they are, but I want to see if you remember what this one was.
The loss of potential gain from other alternatives when one alternative is chosen.
You and Vanessa cheat like
How?
cheaters. I said, do you
How?
remember? I said, I didn't say, can you read the definition off the outline, Tim?
Well, it's what I remember. I remember it's just so worded so nice on the outline that I had to just say it.
See, at first, I knew it. Cheating team that I have,
At
man.
least you
It's
know I'm
like
not
I knew.
bullshitting on the computer while you're talking. Like I'm actually like reading the notes over and over
No,
again.
and like I actually wasn't going to put this on the outline because I didn't want to see him. But then it's like I don't want to have to come up with like examples, and like, I don't know why I did it. But he's cheating. So yeah, basically, uh, basically, what I said, I was going to ask him if you want to explain it. So, opportunity cost, he is telling me, and this is how it came up. He said he had multiple trainings for multiple jobs. And I was like, well, are you going to do it? And he was like, yeah, it doesn't cost me anything. And I was like, that's not true, though. Like, especially like, because I also know Tim's been spending a lot of time filling out applications, security shit. Like, it's consumed already a lot of his time before he's got to the training. So all of that is opportunity cost. All of that time that he was doing, filling out applications, is less time he had on the mats. Less time he had doing cardio, less time he had resting. He doesn't see it as a cost because it wasn't getting paid. But like when you think of time as money, that does become a great opportunity cost. So it's like every hour that you're sitting in training and you're sitting in training for a job and you're actually skipping training for a fight, or you're not remodeling the basement, or you're not learning something for the podcast, that's a cost that you're paying. So it's kind of important to think about that and like the opportunity cost that you lose with training, because everybody says that they don't have enough time to do stuff. And Dr. Rosa gave a really great example of this when he was talking about white belts and blue belts that are like always running after their sponsorship. They're trying to get any kind of sponsorship, and they'll get like a cryo sponsorship, like just a random thing, go sit in a cold tank for DC Open or worse, Naga. And they'll go like 30, 40 minutes. They'll take that drive up to get this free cryo and their drive back, or maybe they're paying for it, worse. But really, what that athlete needed to do was just not eat a lot and rest their body because they're overtraining. So it was like an opportunity cost that they lost. So we're going to give the listeners a little homework too. So in your training, it's like, what hidden opportunity costs are you paying without realizing? Like, what are you wasting your time doing? Can you think of anything else that you're wasting your time doing, Tim? Well, I guess like the job is important. So can you think of something that maybe you're wasting your time that's a big opportunity cost for you?
Wasting my time on. I don't know. I don't think I really waste any time besides, in hindsight, some of the things in order to like fill out applications and stuff in the long term, though. I can't really think of it. I would say, I guess on my phone sometimes. Yeah, maybe on my phone. That's a big one for a lot of people, I noticed. But it's kind of
Yeah.
hard because I am on the phone doing stuff or like planning. I think I plan too much about stuff. Instead of just doing shit, I plan too much. And that would be the one thing I waste my time on, you know.
That is a
I
good
could be
one because
easy.
I think like we all waste too much time on our phone. And then like also it can be very hard because we don't think we have an opportunity cost because we think everything that we're doing is so important or so vital to what we're doing, right?
Mhm.
And that might be the case, but you can still be doing too much. So what do you do at that point if you don't feel like anything you're doing is an opportunity cost? Then you need to prioritize what you're doing.
Absolutely. That's what I've been doing a lot the last couple days. It hasn't been, it's a fairly new thing for me. I look at it as every week since like everything opened back up and since we've been pushing hard with the podcast that I had to prioritize and then demand greatness of myself. I think what would help a lot of people is that you don't just plan shit out. You don't just think about it, but you got to demand it of yourself. And you got to have things that are non-negotiable in your life. And once you have that in your mind, you have to demand it of yourself. Like an example of like the phone thing, you have to demand of yourself that you're not going to just fuck around on it. You're going to get the shit you need to get done. You're going to do it. You're going to demand of yourself to go to bed early. And it's a non negotiable. You got to do whatever you can to make it so you can get the job done or whatever it is that you want to do, or at least take steps to do it. Don't think about shit. Just fucking go for it. And if it doesn't pan out, fuck it. You tried.
I like that non-negotiable thing, like, because when we always talk about like writing down affirmations or writing down lists of what you have to do or write down your priorities, but then yeah, what is non-negotiable? Like what does have to be done? Or that's a really good way to put it. I like that.
Absolutely.
So I want everybody to think about that. Once we drop this episode, if you can think of your opportunity costs and your answers to this, we'll have a post on Instagram. Leave them in the comments, or leave them in the comments on YouTube. We want to know what y'all think. So moving on to number 2, which apparently I should have hidden from the
I won't look. I
outline.
have my eyes closed.
No, it's okay.
I'll
I'm not going
close
to
the
quiz you on
tab.
this one. I'm just going to read this one out. This is the law of diminishing returns. And I'm not gonna lie. I used to equate these last two ones because I really loved economics in college, and I would have majored in it, but I'm really bad at math, and you need like a statistics class, and I couldn't take it.
I
So
should have did that. I should have majored in that because I had to take a statistics class for sociology. I should have listened to my uncle.
Yeah, no, I love it. So the next one is the law of diminishing returns. Okay. So the definition is a principle stating that profits or benefits gained from something will represent a proportionately smaller gain as more money or energy is invested in it. I'm going to read that one more time because I'm going to ask you if you understand what this means. It's okay if you could read it because I knew that I was going to do. So, the law of diminishing returns is a principle that states that profits or benefits gained from something will represent a proportionately smaller gain as more money or energy is invested in it. Do you know what that means?
You're putting a lot of energy into something that is not going to give you the gains that it deserves. The juice is not worth the squeeze, is what I took from it. The more you invest in it, the less it's going to be worth it. You know,
the less it's going to be worth it. Like the less value you'll get from it. The more you
exactly.
invest, the more you do it, the less value you're going to get into it. So what example do I have? One example that I had was for myself was local competitions. When I was in Rio and I was 24 white belt, I trained 3 to 4 times a day and I competed 3 times a month. Like maybe 4 times a month. But now at 33 years old, I compete for reasons. Like it's either ranking, like because it's a gi or a competition, or because I want to travel, because I want to go to Portugal, because I want to go to Tokyo, because I want to go to Spain. So I'm gonna hit up like Masters European Open, or I work like I want to go to Worlds, like I want to do the prestigious ones. Like there was definitely a point where I stopped competing in local tournaments so that I could compete against higher ranked people or people that were at a higher level. And the value of just going against the same people in the same area and the same people in the same area, it wasn't helping as much. Going out against different people really allowed me to get better returns on my competition. If I was paying like $100 and going to IBJJF, I would have 10 people in my bracket as opposed to fighting the same 2 people I fought 10 times. So that's one of my examples of diminishing returns. I had one that I was gonna ask you if you thought about it. Another one I thought like maybe training outside of competition classes. And I don't know if that's just because I'm so used to competition and TLI, but I've also been yelled at for like going to open mats instead of coming to TLI to train on Saturday. And like I was with DJ too, and I got yelled at. It's like DJ is out of the system and you are supposed to be drilling such and such. He's like, he's at a different level. It's cool if he skips training because he knows this. It was like, you still got to read these chapters. Like you should have been with the team. So like sometimes like I don't like going to gyms where I'm going to have to go and spend 45 minutes drilling like a triangle with a white belt, like because I could have been editing videos and got paid $150, so that's a diminishing return for me. I want value added to my training.
You don't have to be on every ship that sails. What I've learned recently, what has made my life a lot better, is knowing when to go to practice and what practices to go to. I only want to go and train, and I will only go to train when I feel as though it's going to be intellectually stimulating and it's going to teach me something that I could use that is new and can expand my game. Something that is going to make me all around more complete. And although I'm very good at certain things, I don't need to just keep going after them, like keep training. I'm not going to go to practice and hope that we just only do takedowns or guard passing. I want to do some stuff that's going to make me better. If I'm going to an open mat with a bunch of regular people, no offense, I'm not going to waste my fucking time. You know what I mean? Let's use the open mats. Like, what open mat will I go to on the planet that's going to push me? What practice am I going to go to that's going to push me? Do you understand what I mean? I think about this before I go out there because time is important. Time you can't get back. So if I'm going to leave my house and go train and sweat, potentially bleed, risk injury, it better be worth it where I feel as though I learned something. I'm getting better. And it's a system that I'm going to add to my game. And it's a progression, not some random fucking open mat. If I'm, and there's this thing in wrestling called a bump card. Like in pro wrestlers, they call it, it's like there's only so many bumps and falls you can take, right? To make them count. There's only so many rounds that you can get into jiu-jitsu before you mentally, emotionally, or physically burn out. There's only so much time that you have. Make the shit count.
Facts. So then my question for you is like, me, I'm a pretentious blue belt. I've been blue forever, you know? So it's like, I don't have a problem saying that out loud. And I don't have a problem going to a gym and like being in an uncomfortable situation and being like, oh, this ain't for me. I'm gonna have to bow out. But what about for other people, lower belts that like, how do you think that they should be create an awareness or deal with this situation?
A simple way is if you have a head instructor, you go to their classes, right? You take notes, right? But when I was a blue belt, everybody wanted to go. It's a weird thing. Some people look at jiu-jitsu like it's tennis or some shit, or it's like playing video games, or they just want to go out there just for the hell of it. And they don't look at it from a competitor standpoint. I always looked at it as a competitor martial arts standpoint. So if I'm training, I want to make the most of my training. So if I'm still coming up, I'm going to go to the classes where my head instructor is and learn from them. You know, if I'm in practice, I'm going to drill a lot. I'm not going to go and chit chat. Would that answer your question?
Yeah. Like go to your instructor. I think it's very important to have like the relationship with your instructor, because when
Yes.
I trained at Beta, like Nakapa, I'm gonna say his name, I don't even give a fuck. Nakapa never taught during the day really, and like I could only train during the day, so it's like I never ever trained with him. It was only, and his only black belt also only trained at night, so I only ever got to train with purple belts from his school, and purple belts that didn't train with Nakapa, so they didn't even have his style of jujitsu, you know.
Exactly.
And like, so I never really felt comfortable at that gym. I didn't feel comfortable talking to him. I didn't feel comfortable talking to his like money hungry business partner. And there was a point where I had to tell him like I didn't want a belt from him because I don't know you. And like and I never felt comfortable. Like I haven't been to TLI in like a year, and like I've been texting Master Lloyd all day, and I talk to him all of the time, you know, and and I haven't trained because I'm injured. Like I'm hitting him up for business advice, you know, like for anything. Like we have that relationship. And I think like Tim also said competitors, but yo, a lot of people aren't competitors and we're still out here, and like you still deserve that same value. Like just because you're not a competitor doesn't mean you shouldn't be learning good jujitsu. Like you shouldn't be learning how to defend yourself. Like I have teammates that have no fucking sense, not teammates from TLI. I train with people that have no sense of like their balance, their base, like, and it's because they're awkward. Like, you know, people nowadays they don't move around. So I think it's important like that you have that bond with whoever is teaching your class.
Exactly.
I think that's really important, because then they're the ones that are going to be able to tell you what is best for your development. Because, you know, it's also, you shouldn't be relying on coach nobody. Like you have somebody that's going to guide you, that's going to give you that feedback, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
All right. So then we have, so that there's two is the opportunity cost. Think about the opportunity cost that you're wasting in your training. Think about the diminishing returns. What are you doing just because you're good at it? It's not helping you anymore. Stop tapping all the white belts out with the same damn move. It's not helping you anymore. Just because you want to be better than them, let them tap you out until you get better at something else. You
Yeah.
know, put your work on where your returns are going to be better. And the last one, this is I think this is one of the harder ones to kind of try to identify, is the law of diminishing marginal utility. Diminishing marginal utility states that for any good or service, the marginal utility of that good or service decreases as the quantity increases. So one more time. The law of diminishing marginal return. We got returns and utilities, y'all. Now I'm getting confused. The law of diminishing marginal utility states that for any good or service, the marginal utility that good or service of that good, the marginal utility of that good or service decreases. The more you have, the less utility it gives you. Does that make any sense to you, Tim?
That which is common is not special. You know what I mean? Supply and demand, I guess, it's the inverse of supply and demand, I guess, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. What's an example
that
of
is
it?
common. And it's not necessarily what is common. It's like, for example, like water is common. Like you said, water is common, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's free. But if I'm in a concert or at a bar and I don't have any, and maybe I took some Molly and I'm wilding out and I'm about to die and I need water, I would pay $100 before I have to go to the hospital because I OD'd on Molly, and then Master Lloyd finds out and I'm no longer an athlete. I would pay $100 for this bottle of water. But after I get this bottle of water and I drink it, I'll pay maybe 50 cents. The utility has completely diminished. When I needed it, I would have paid 5, 6, 7, 8 times what it was worth. Now that I have it, I don't care. And that's the real thing. For example, and this is how I say this is a real thing. For example, you paying $20. $20. We should drop that shit down to $19.99 for the Bjj Goons top tier Patreon. How many Patreons we got, Tim?
How many patrons do you have? Oh, we got like 15. We just got 15 today.
15 Patreons. You pay $20 for our Patreon. There's only 15 of y'all motherfuckers up in there, right?
Yeah.
And what do you get? You get weekly techniques. And you can ask Tim anything you want because Tim don't know what the hell he films that week. So you can be like, hey, how do you do this? And then that next week, me and Tim are going to film it. And it might take a while to come out because we film 4 at a time, but it's going to come out. We might actually drop it first because y'all actually ask, because Tim be mad. How come these Patreons don't ask me for questions? And He actually gets upset about that shit because y'all don't talk.
Yeah. I put posts up all the time.
Some of y'all paying $20 for this Patreon and also paying $99 for Jiu-Jitsu X instructionals for shit you don't watch when you could just ask Tim and he would tell you
everything.
Mm-hmm. So if you're paying
in fine detail.
So if you're paying $20 for this Patreon, $20 tier, and you forget it now, because I swear to God, as soon as we make enough money, that those techniques are going up to 50. It's not going to 30. The techniques will go to 50 minimum.
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure.
And you could ask him anything for only $20. But people, and then if you have then you don't need anything else. You don't need Jiu-Jitsu X. You don't need a pre-recorded video from Keenan because Keenan turned that TLI and you can ask Tim.
Yeah, I was there.
But nobody asked him anything. Literally, I've asked him shit. It's literally a Patreon feature. It's literally, but like, does anybody take advantage of it? No. Like,
absolutely, positively not. No.
So that is the law of diminishing marginal utility. It's really hard to apply. Like, can you think of anything else that you could apply that to, or another example?
I think you did a phenomenal job of explaining it. It truly did.
Applying it is hard. So I have no time. So how do you apply this? So this is the question that I want you guys to ask yourselves, to think about that. What needs do you already have checked off already? What needs do you already have checked off already? And do you continue to do that? You know, it's like, what do I have? Like, oh, I have I have all of the leopard from Victoria's Secret. Everybody's getting on. How much leopard do you have? I have all of it. Do I keep buying it? Yeah. Do I need it? No. Do I look good in it? Yeah. And because I need different pictures. So, you know, I have no utility for it though.
Mm-hmm.
So that's our economics lesson. And I think that like when you're training jujitsu, one thing that I really got from training at TLI is not just the techniques, but the mindset, how you think about it. That really matters. Because again, the opportunity costs. Like, because even if you're going into that same basic beginner class and you're doing the same basic beginner armbar, but you have a different mentality about it, or you're looking at it differently, different grips, different things, like, you know, you're really going to improve your training. You know, it's really going to help you kind of narrow it down. And just like Tim has his like mind map, and that's why you different positions, different techniques. You really need to be aware of what you're doing, aware of what you're wasting your time on. And I think that will just really help everybody out.
For sure. For sure. For sure. So, Nico, do you have any other econ advice for me or everyone listening back at home?
Yes, I do
Anything else?
actually.
Oh, what is
There
that?
was there was one more saying that I had that I learned day one in Econ 101. It rhymes. It's the best thing. Apply it to your life. Do what you do best and trade for all the rest.
Oh,
Stop trying to fucking do everything. Do what you do best. Pay somebody else to do that shit you can't do good. Because why are you trying to do everything? And like, really, oh, when we talk about, I guess it was more like, I will put this in another episode, like, because like developing yourself. Stop asking people stuff that you should be looking up. People do that to me all the time. I know people were doing it to Tim all the time. Like, invest in what you wanna do. Like, I've invested like in the last 5 months, maybe over $1,000 in being better at doing podcast production. Whether it's been traveling, whether it's been coming here, I've put a lot of money into it, like upgrading stuff, like lenses, this, that, just because I want to be professional, because I want to be an audio visual engineer, and that's what I want to do, audio visual engineer. So it got to the point where Tim was like, "Oh yeah, like this TV needs to go on the fucking wall," and I was like, "That's not audio visual. I ain't doing it no more. If it's not my niche, if it's not that thing, like some people might know, like I quit, like I kind of quit Today Kids Project because there were no, I was like, I need to focus on something. I'm gonna do what I do best, which is editing videos. And I can't administrate right now. It's like, so just do what you do best. Focus on that.
wonderful. Well, I'm definitely taking all of this to heart and all the notes you gave me from the conference. I'm going to work on that. But that's it for us today. Before we wrap, I just want to say shout out to one of our illustrious sponsors, Blue Edge Business Solutions. Don't forget to check out our friends at Blue Edge Business for all of your digital marketing, web development, and graphic design needs. They can help you with anything from Facebook and Google Ads to websites and landing pages. And tell them yours truly, Tim Spriggs, sent you and get a special discount. Nico, where can we find you?
You can find me at No New Nico on Instagram. Make sure to drop by favelajujitsu.com. We're going to be restocking with some new gear, getting ready for the fall. And yeah, those are my places.
That's awesome. You can find me at Tim Spriggs BJJ on Instagram or Facebook, or you can go to timspriggsbjj.com. I have private lessons. I teach seminars. I can even make your game plan for you and critique your matches in real time. Just hit me up at timspriggsbjj.com. Guys, thanks for watching another episode of the BJJ Goons podcast. Peace.